Since I started making TDS YouTube videos over a year ago, I have seen many leaks from the TDS Discord server. Some have come to fruition, and some have completely disappeared. But then there are some that refuse to go away. They have simply been delayed. And this just happens to be a video about some of those leaks. Specifically, the fabled hacker tower and the simptastic engineer. Where did they come from? Where did they go? And is it possible they'll be in the game sooner than you think? How ya doing, cat gang? Harrison here with two cats to talk about some of the most exciting news to come from the Tower Defense Simulator developers in a long time. But before I get started, why don't you go ahead and hit that like button if you're excited to see the engineer tower? I know I am. And this is where I'm gonna start because this leak right here is the reason I'm making this video. It was posted by Chemeries in the Tower Defense Sim Discord on June 9th. It says upcoming engineer tower in the works. Now what really caught my attention with this post are the words in the works, because we've actually seen this tower in game before in a video John Roblox released back on August 20th, 2020. Jesus, that's almost a year ago. Oh my god, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, the other tower I'm covering in this video was originally posted over a year ago, and we haven't heard a single thing about it since then. But I'm gonna get to that later. My point here is that this is the first time we saw the engineer tower in TDS, and then nothing. At least until a couple of days ago when Chemeries made this post. That's why this leak is such a big deal, because this was obviously a tower that had already been built into the game. It had already been coded and tested, so why haven't we gotten it yet? Why haven't we heard anything about it until now? Since the engineer tower was teased, the game lost two of its original developers. With Beef Choplets formally leaving, he actually posted a goodbye note in the Discord, which prompted me to make this hilarious goodbye Beef video, which you should definitely watch if you haven't seen it. But the other dev, Biscuit Turtle Kid, just kind of stopped working on the game. So this only left Below Natural and Razu Addicts to do all of the development work, which I think is the main reason all of the content updates have been so delayed. So that's why I think we haven't seen the engineer actually put into the game yet. I mean, the only new towers we've gotten since I started playing are from events and the pay-to-win accelerator. And even all of those were super delayed. So it's no surprise they haven't added any regular towers that can be bought with coins, but it looks like things are changing. Now they're getting some help from people like Chemeries on more than just skins, since this is the first I've heard of one of the new developers actually working on a tower. And so I guess that since they're confident enough in this tower that they're releasing pics of it, it must be coming soon. What am I talking about? The entire point of this video is that they release leaks and then we never actually see those leaks in the game. Well, I'm hoping this time is different, since as of today, the Frost event is supposed to end in 18 days. Maybe the tower will be part of the new update, because honestly, it's about time we get this tower. A year after it was first shown to the world, releasing it now would really help to continue TDS's concurrent player growth and keep the game from stalling, which is what would happen if the Frost event is around for another 6 months. So what has kept the engineer tower from being implemented into the game so far? Since we already saw it being used, then it must work, right? Well, I'm no Roblox developer, but I think there have been a lot of changes to the game behind the scenes that required this tower to be reworked. It could have originally been a 5-level tower, but the Frost update changed a lot of towers from 5 levels to 4 levels, and that change may have included towers that weren't in the game yet. I don't think it got held up because the skins had to get changed, since it looks exactly the same as it did a year ago, but I'd be willing to bet one of my cats on the fact that the tower has had some kind of serious bugs in it that the devs just haven't had the time to fix. And now that Super Chemeries has arrived to save the day, those bugs are going to get exterminated, and that's why this leak says the engineering tower is in the works. So speaking of bugs, let's talk about the history of this tower, because if you don't know, this little guy right here has already been in the game. This is the Sentry, and when I started playing TDS, people actually used it. They had it in their inventory inventory, they could place it down, it would shoot the zombies, everybody was happy, but I couldn't buy it from the shop. And that's because it was removed on December 24th, 2019 with the Christmas 2019 update. According to the official Tower Defense Simulator wiki, this was most likely due to the fact that it was just riddled with bugs. It didn't have the right fire rate, it wouldn't properly lock onto enemies, and it wouldn't display the appropriate damage. And so it was taken out of the shop during December 2019 and eventually removed from the game completely with the Hardcore Update's official release on October 29th, 2020. I believe it was taken out of the game because it was meant to be replaced with the engineer. I mean, we all saw the engineer using the sentry in John Roblox's video, but there was one big bump in the road the TDS devs didn't anticipate, and this was since the engineer was using the sentry, it had the same bugs that the sentry had, and thus it couldn't be implemented into the game until those were fixed. And we all know how that turned out.
One eternity later.
Personally, I think the engineer is going to be an awesome tower. Okay, simp. I want it in the game because I've always been jealous of the people that had the sentry, and the closest I could get to using it was wearing it on my head. But in a broader sense, the engineering tower is not unique to TDS. I've used it in another tower defense game on Roblox called Evolution Evade. I will link that game down in the description so you can go check it out. It has an engineer which uses a sentry, but unlike the TDS engineer, the Evolution Evade engineer builds only one large sentry on the path instead of multiple ones. But that single sentry does have the same function as the TDS sentry. It fires at the enemies until they collide with it, either destroying it or destroying themselves. And then the engineer goes right back to work building another one. Now, believe it or not, the tower defense sim engineer very closely resembles the engineer from another famous tower defense game starring a monkey. That's right, the Balloons tower defense engineer monkey could work exactly like the TDS engineer, human? Because as you can see here in this pic of a whole lot of engineer monkeys, one monkey is able to build multiple sentries, which is what the TDS engineer is going to do. The main difference here is that the monkeys don't build them on the path, but the TDS engineer will. So this is like a combination of the Balloons engineer in the fact that it can build more than one sentry, and the Evolution Evade engineer in the fact that it builds on the path. And that is everything I wanted to cover about the upcoming engineer tower. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of what it is, where it came from, and you're as excited to use it as I am. Now, to cover the other tower I alluded to earlier, a tower that's only made one appearance ever and has never been talked about again, the Hacker Tower. It's actually very sad that this tower hasn't been put into the game yet, especially since it came from a poll Below did on Twitter on June 8th, 2020, where he let the community vote on what they wanted the new tower to be, and the Hacker Tower won. A few days later, he released this teaser image, but after that, nothing. Now, there's way more information out there about the engineer tower than the hacker tower. We've actually seen the engineer in game, so we know that it was coded and built. But as for the hacker tower, outside of this image, we don't know if it was ever actually implemented. So we really don't know if it ever will be. And I know I said this tower only made one appearance, but it's possible that it also showed up in this tweet from the official Paradoxum Games Twitter account on July 22nd, 2020. I just can't say that for sure because the towers are all blacked out. As for the other towers in this image, we know this is the mark from the mecha base and this is the accelerator. I also think it's fair to guess that this is the engineer here because you can see the sentry on the ground. And because of the drone flying in the air, I'm guessing this is the hacker tower. Now, the difference between the hacker tower and these other three towers is that we've seen all three of these in the game already. Even though the mecha base hasn't been released to the public, you still could have gotten it in the hardcore beta, and there are privileged members of the TDS community that still have it. So while we know the engineer tower is on the way because of the leak, we have no idea what happened to the hacker tower. And again, this is especially disheartening because we picked it as a community. So if there are any TDS developers watching this video, can you just drop us a little teaser in the TDS Discord just so we know that our boy the hacker tower is doing okay? At least let us know if he's still going to be in the game or not. I mean, he went to get milk 17 years ago and never came back. Oh wait, no, that was my dad. So now I got a question for you guys. What do you think the hacker tower does? Again, for the engineer, we've seen the gameplay footage, so we have a pretty good idea of how it's gonna work. But for the hacker tower, I can only speculate. Now, if you've seen my Ace Pilot hacker ability video, then you already know what I'm gonna say. I think the biggest benefit you're gonna get from the hacker tower is that it's gonna give hidden detection to the other towers around it. It is possible that the drone that comes with it will shoot the enemies as well, but having a support tower give other towers hidden detection would be an incredibly unique feature for a tower in TDS. Up until the Ace Pilot's recent changes, no other tower could do this. And here's an interesting fact. Just like there's an engineer monkey in Balloons TD6, there's also a tower you can place down that'll reveal the camo balloons to the other monkeys around it. Now, camo balloons in this game are the equivalent to hidden enemies. This right here is straight from the Balloons TD wiki. It allows all monkeys in its radius to attack camo balloons. It's called the radar scanner, and it's the second upgrade on the second path for the monkey village, and it gives all towers around it camo detection. This right here is the hacker tower in Balloons. So if the TDS devs are taking some guidance from other popular tower defense games like Balloons, this could be where they got that idea. And hey, I think it's a great idea. It would really add to the versatility of players' loadouts and give us more options for countering the different types of enemies in the game, which always makes games more fun and interesting. But alas, for now, we can only know the hacker tower as a memory that we once had, with no idea if we'll ever be able to hold it in our hands and set it free upon the fields of battle. And that brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I actually have a question for everyone that made it this far. Since we're talking about hidden detection, do you think the engineer's sentries will have hidden detection, allowing them to shoot hidden enemies before they run into the sentries? Or do you think they'll only be able to do collision damage with hidden enemies, like how the military base vehicles work? Let me know down in the comments what your guess is. Personally, I don't think it's going to have hidden detection. I think it'll only be able to destroy hidden enemies when they run into the sentries on the path, which is just one more reason why we need the hacker tower ASAP. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button with your forehead, hit the subscribe button with your big toe, and turn on notifications however you can so you don't miss any of my amazing upcoming content. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, be safe, and never forget what I always say. Peace!